Am I the only person who's slightly disturbed at the notion of Stephen Gilbert selling cameras and guns? Okay, but I hope you're beginning to get the message here. It's about jobs. We think that jobs are important. In fact, though, the most important jobs are the ones for our young people. In getting our young people into work, apprenticeships play a crucial role. Apprenticeships give employers the opportunity to train the workforce that they need and give the employees the opportunity to get the start in their chosen field. They are the employment win-win. They're also at the heart of government plans to tackle the still too high levels of youth unemployment. Our next speaker knows a lot about young people in apprenticeships. She's had a lifetime of working experience as a careers advisor, working day in and day out to help them get the start in life that they need. Her views are not academic or theoretical. She deals with it day and daily and for real. She has also been one of our best candidates at Scottish or general elections in 2005, 2007, 2010 and 2011. She's now on the leadership programme. I think it's fair to say that she has served her time as a candidate, and I want to see her elected to Parliament. Conference, will you welcome, please, Katie Gordon.
When I was asked to speak about apprenticeships today, I couldn't resist going back through the Career Service archives and dusting off some of those ancient CVs that have come in over the years. I've removed the names, the surnames, for anonymity purposes. Here's one from a lad called Paddy. Real gift of the gab, strong commitment to physical fitness, great leadership skills in a hostile environment. Not sure trained killer was a key selling point, though. Or here's one from a girl called Shirley. Persuasive, willing to try new things, experience setting up new enterprises. Not sure if she ever got to her interviews on time, though. Or lastly, this one from a young man called Danny. Work experience promoting skiing. Good with numbers. Great hobby as a president of the Red Squirrel Society. I wonder what happened to him. The serious point I'm making is how crucial it is to make the most of your skills and experience. All those new apprenticeships we've created offer brilliant experience and a real chance to learn new skills. But in the past, there have never been enough of them. As a careers advisor of 18 years' experience, helping school leavers and students and adults with their careers, it has always seemed blindingly obvious to me that we need to resuscitate the apprenticeship system on a mass scale with proper wages and high-quality training. I've interviewed hundreds of teenagers over the years. Kids who maybe haven't done so well at school, but know from their parents that getting a trade would set them up for life. Kids who just needed that one chance to turn their lives around, to break away from gang culture and overcome the hopelessness born of the closure of so many factories, mines, and steelworks. Kids who really tried hard to get an apprenticeship, but just found there weren't enough to go around. It really broke my heart, seeing those hopeful young faces turn to despair with knockback after knockback. And that rejection stays with them. tells them they have nothing to offer. What kind of message is that to give to our country's children? It made me really mad to see government after government failing these young people. And it's this burning sense of injustice that brought me into politics. We need more plumbers, more joiners, more IT technicians. And apprenticeships can lead to so much more. Look at Jamie Oliver and Stella McCartney, succeeding in the catering and the fashion industry. Or Billy Connolly, who started as a welder right here in a Glasgow shipyard before using his experiences to make us laugh. So it makes me really proud, really proud, that it is the Liberal Democrats in government who are driving the biggest increase in apprenticeships in years. Pushing up spending on apprenticeships to £1.4 billion, creating 1.2 million new apprenticeships since 2010, and proving every pound invested in the apprenticeship programme is worth 28 more to the economy. But the Scottish Government doesn't seem that interested in anything coming from south of the border. The SNP like to claim credit whenever Scottish unemployment falls, but it's all Westminster's fault when it rises. I'm not sure how they explain the expansion of apprenticeships in Scotland is so much lower than that of England. But I bet the answer goes something like, it's all Westminster's fault. Maybe Alex Salmond should take a leaf out of Jo Swinson's book. Not 5 miles from here, in her East Dunbartonshire constituency, Jo took up Nick's challenge to create 100 work or training opportunities in 100 days. Now, Jo may be eating for two, but she's not allergic to hard work. I know. Over 3 months, she brought together employers, Skills Development Scotland, and Job Centre Plus, and created 109 job and training opportunities. So Alex, stop talking about independence and start helping young people become independent. But I want us to go further. More apprenticeships, more young people getting chances to learn and earn, and crucially, more understanding that governments can make a difference, that Liberal Democrats do make a difference, and that we are investing in our country's future. And now a little video about what MPs are doing locally for apprenticeships.
I spent a great day out with some of the apprentices at St Austell Brewery, delivering barrels of beer to pubs and nightclubs in Newquay.
I spent time with an apprentice baker at Morrison's in Inverness.
I've been an apprentice bricklayer in Burnley College. I've been an apprentice baker at one of the supermarkets. I went back to my roots as an apprentice engineer. I was also an apprentice binman.
I've been cooking in a hotel, I've been waiting and laying tables, I've been a maintenance trainee.
I've had an apprentice in my constituency office for the last year.
In St Austell and Newquay, the number of apprenticeships that we have has almost doubled since the coalition government came to power.
What it means is that young people have the opportunity to get that first step on the first rung of the ladder, learning a skill, learning talents, putting things that they've learned into good practice.
It's absolutely vital that young people get the skills they need and the sense that they can really make something of themselves and contribute to society.
So apprenticeships are not only a great alternative to going to university, they give young people that kind of sense of worth.
When you learn on the job, It's real, you see the relevance immediately.
I think it will help tremendously in areas where I live, where there's such high unemployment amongst Black and Asian youth. But I have been impressed by the number of women taking up apprenticeships.
I think particularly getting people in the countryside into jobs is desperately important.
We need to replace the older people that are retiring with young, well-qualified young people to take manufacturing forward, and that is what we're doing.
Being able to provide apprenticeships for young people in my constituency basically means giving them choice.
You know, university is fabulous, but it's not for everyone. So what I did recently was I set up an apprenticeship event. We had over 20 companies offering over 500 apprenticeships, and the very next day, at least 1 or 2 had already started.
I've been delighted to lead an initiative last year that's helped provide more than 100 opportunities through jobs, apprentices and work experience for people in my area.
We've doubled the number of apprentices in Burnley over the last 2 years.
Since the general election, little old Eastbourne's recruited 2,500 new apprentices. That's literally just the last 3 years. That's more than the previous 7 years put together.
The work that this government has done to massively expand the availability of the opportunity to have an apprenticeship for young people is one of the achievements of which I am most proud, because it's ensuring that young people, whatever background they come from, have the opportunity to gain new skills, to learn a trade, to ensure that they have a good place in our workforce for the years to come.
About a mile or so away from where we are sitting tonight is the local office of the UK Borders Agency. A few weeks ago, these posters were put up there. Crass, aren't they? Insulting, disrespectful. They're a disgrace. They're gone now. But I don't want to see them coming back. Here in Scotland, we have a proud history of welcoming people in need from other parts of the world. These posters have no place in our community. That is why I am so proud that Michael Moore and Nick Clegg have told the Home Secretary in no uncertain terms that the Liberal Democrats will not be playing along with her attempts at headline-grabbing gimmicks like this. It matters particularly because stunts like that play straight into Alex Salmond's hands. And it's not that the nationalists really care that much about immigration or asylum. They only care about one thing: independence. Here in Scotland, we have communities that are still struggling today with the consequences of losing heavy industries in the 1980s and the 1990s. Communities where long-term unemployment has blighted the lives of the last generation and maybe even the one before that. It now threatens the future of the next one. These communities need a Scottish government that will focus like a laser on jobs. Instead, though, for the next 12 months, the focus of Scotland's politics is going to be on the independence debate. We might not have wanted the distraction, but now that we have it, our party is going to be central to that debate. And be quite clear, for us, a no vote is not a vote for the status quo. Willie Rennie and the Scottish Liberal Democrats are leading the way in offering Scotland a vision where the work started by Labour in delivering devolution will finally be completed by us in delivering what Gladstone spoke of: home rule all round. As it is for Scotland, so it must be for other parts of the United Kingdom. For Wales, we are working within government to deliver the recommendations of the Silk Report. I can't tell you how happy that makes the Secretary of State for Wales. But it should at least please the Williams family. I don't know if you've noticed, but our party seems somehow to have been gradually overtaken by one family. It all started very quietly with Shirley Williams. But now, in addition to Shirley, our parliamentarians include Stephen Williams, Mark Williams, Roger Williams, and Kirsty Williams. I mentioned this the other day to my special advisor. He told me it was nothing to worry about, it was not a problem. I suppose, though, that's the sort of advice you would expect from a man called Ben Williams. She might be just one of our several Williamses, but believe me, in every other respect, she is unique. Not just a party leader, more a force of nature. Here to tell us about the Jobs campaign in Wales. Conference, will you welcome, please, Kirsty Williams.
Thank you very much, and thank you to Alistair for that introduction. Jobs, jobs, and more jobs. That is what we've got ahead of us for the next 20 months, or 600 days before the election in May 2015. Yeah, that's right, just 600 days. And why do we have to keep talking about jobs, jobs, and more jobs? Well, surely the answer is obvious. We need to find Lembit one. Now, over the past few years, since that fateful day in May 2010, Lembit has tried his hand at many, many different roles. First of all, he tried to be a wrestler, slipping on some wrestling briefs. I think we've got a photo. No, it's all right. We have not got a photo. Unfortunately, Big Daddy and Giant Haystacks, he was not. So the meteor from Mont crashed and burned. Next, he tried his hand at stand-up comedy. Lembit and comedy, well, that relationship was a non-starter. And more recently, Lembit was a judge in a dog show. He was, so they tell me, bitten by a sausage dog in the nether regions. Now, the potential for jokes there are endless, but I'm far too classy a lady even to try. So, that's why, conference, we need to be concentrating on creating jobs, to find Lembit Opik a steady one, and also to create a further 999,999, adding to the million-plus jobs in the private sector we've already created whilst in government. And let me tell you how pleased I am to be working alongside Danny and Alistair, Nick Harvey and others on the 2015 general election campaign. And what a privilege to be working with Paddy Ashdown. You know, I got a call from Paddy. Kirsty! You are going to join me in the 2015 election campaign as vice chair, aren't you? Now, not that I would have said no, but to be honest, the only thing going through my mind at that point was, I wonder what happened to the last person who said no to Paddy Ashdown. So, here I am as the vice chair of the 2015 election campaign, and over the next 20 months, we have to make being in government work for us in that campaign. And as we've already heard this evening, the Liberal Democrats are helping businesses take on apprentices so that they can start life with good skills and a decent paycheck, increasing their skills but also strengthening our economy. But Liberal Democrats are equally committed to our small and medium-sized enterprises. Small businesses are the backbone of the British economy, and helping small businesses is going to be the backbone of our 2015 campaign. From your local butcher, plumber, widget manufacturer, builder, food producer, website developer. These are people who've taken a risk, jumped into that unknown to make a better lives for themselves and to offer employment to other people. Liberal Democrats believe that if you are willing to take that risk, government should be there to do all that it can to help you succeed. And with the Liberal Democrats in government, you can count on that help. That's exactly why and exactly what Vince is doing in the business department, setting up the business bank that's helping companies manufacture that new product or deliver that additional service. He's providing much needed cash to companies who want to expand but have found it difficult because of a lack of capital. You know, just think for a moment of all those small businesses that have gone on to become household names. John Lewis, now employing 40,000 people. Marks and Spencer's, employing over 80,000 people. And a more recent example, the Admiral Group, a Welsh company, launched in 1993 with just one brand, 0 customers, and 57 members of staff. Last year, Admiral had over 6,500 members of staff and a group turnover of £2.2 billion. And, even more important, proud sponsors of the Welsh rugby team. Triple, yes, triple, Alistair, triple Grand Slam winners. That is what you get when you invest in small businesses. That's what you get when you ensure that they've got the money they need to grow. The Welsh Liberal Democrats have ensured that we're investing in the future of our children with our pupil premium, enabling every child to get on in life, but we're also investing in the future of our economy. Danny at the Treasury is leading the charge with the National Insurance Contribution Bill, offering a national insurance allowance of £2,000 for each small business. That means reducing the cost of employment and supporting small businesses who want to expand their workforce. Nearly 1 million businesses will benefit from what the Liberal Democrats are pushing through Parliament. In these difficult times, it's vital we help small businesses who want to hire more people. But we're doing more than that. We're also cutting red tape that stifles growth. We're upgrading Britain's infrastructure with investment. We're ensuring that clean and green companies can access the capital they need with the Green Investment Bank. And we're investing in superfast broadband and better mobile phone signals so that rural businesses have a chance too. You know, we're not obsessed with a few square miles in London. We want to see all parts of the UK develop and succeed. That's what Liberal Democrats are doing in government for small businesses, for your local economy, and job creation. And that is what we need to be telling the people of Britain over the next 20 months. In a focus leaflet, in a letter to your local newspaper, on the phones, on the doorstep, Twitter, Facebook, wherever and whenever you can. Because if we don't tell people, no one is going to do it for us. And if you think that Lembit in wrestler's tight pants is scary, just imagine Balls, Ed Balls as Chancellor. So friends, when the leather of your shoes is wearing out, when those dogs are barking even louder and those hills look even steeper, know this, you are not alone. The rest of us in this hall and the Liberal Democrat family across the UK will be out there with you too, fighting to send a strong team back to Westminster. We'll be delivering the leaflets, talking to people on the doorstep and telling them how we are creating 1 million jobs for a stronger economy. You know, getting out there and talking to people is the best bit of campaigning. And we've always prided ourselves on listening to people. But this time, at this general election, we also have a lot of achievements to sell to them too. Delivering even more jobs for young people in rural areas, green jobs in our factories, in our shops, here in Glasgow, and villages and towns and cities across the United Kingdom. The people of this country can trust us with their small businesses. The people of Britain can count on us to get them back to work. And the people of Britain can rely on us to deliver 1 million jobs for that stronger economy. Thank you.
This year, we celebrated the centenary of the birth of Joe Grimmond, leader of the Liberal Party and one of my predecessors as MP for Orkney and Shetland. It was Joe who once famously told us that the party should march towards the sound of gunfire. Well, I think it's fair to say that with Nick Clegg as our leader, we have finally got there. Joe still casts a very long shadow in the Northern Isles, and I sometimes have people ask me, what would Joe think of this coalition? The truth is, of course, I've got no idea. I suspect that, like most of us, he would like the good Liberal bits, but choke on some of the Tory stuff. But one thing I have no doubt about, is that he would have seen the 2010 election result for what it was, an existential threat to our party. And Joe knew a thing or two about existential threats to our party. He confronted them on an almost weekly basis. And he responded to them, as we now have to respond to them, by getting on, making our case based on Liberal values. Accepting that you don't win every time, but that you never give up trying. That's what Nick Clegg does. I know because I see it every day in government. I see the hours he puts in. I see the battles that he fights. I see the difference that he makes. And I tell you this, there has not been a single day since we went into government in 2010 that I have been anything other than totally and intensely proud of having him as my party leader. Conference, will you welcome onto stage our party leader, our country's Deputy Prime Minister, Nick Clegg.
Thank you, Alistair. Thank you, everybody. Welcome to Glasgow, and thank you, Alistair, for that very, very kind introduction. It's downhill, I think, after such an uplifting start. Look, it's great to be here at this year's autumn conference. A lot has happened since we were last together. Britain's favourite couple celebrated the news of a child that will one day rule our country. And as well as Joe Swinson and Duncan Hames, William and Kate also apparently had a baby. Congratulations. This year's conference sees us gather in a city that has always been important to the Liberal Democrats, a city once represented by Roy Jenkins that gave us Ming Campbell, and where nearby in 2005, Joe Swinson won a famous victory to take a seat from Labour and become an MP at just 25. Before anything, I want to pay tribute as well to our team of Scottish MPs who lead the way in Parliament in arguing for a United Kingdom that is strong, that is secure, and above all, that is together. All under the direction of our fantastic Chief Whip and rally compere, Alistair. Alistair was actually going to wear a kilt for this rally. But when we saw how high this stage was, for the benefit of everybody here in the front row, we decided against it. Over the course of the next year, our party will continue making the case for Scotland in the United Kingdom. And we have the right team to get the job done. In Mike Moore, we have a Scottish secretary who's delivered more powers for Holyrood, who brokered the deal for a legal, fair and decisive referendum when so many people said it couldn't be done, and who is working with ministers across government day after day to make the positive case for the United Kingdom. In Danny Alexander, we have a Highlander doing an outstanding job right in the heart of the Treasury. And in Willie Rennie, we have a constant thorn in Alex Salmon's side, and an enormous asset to our party, making a persuasive case for a liberal Scotland in a liberal United Kingdom. Now, tonight we're talking about jobs. The coalition government has helped to create over 1 million jobs, and I want us to create 1 million more. 1 million jobs for a stronger economy. At the beginning of the rally, we saw that wonderful video telling us about the first jobs held by our MPs, marred only by the slightly sinister job that Stephen Gilbert did. And the job of us all now, as a party of government, is to help other people into work. And bluntly, friends, we are the only authentic party of jobs, the only party that can speak credibly about creating jobs and jobs that last. The Conservatives have this bizarre idea that to create more jobs, you need to increase insecurity. They aren't the party of jobs. They are the party of fire at will. Do you remember that? A proposal for bosses to get rid of staff, no questions asked. A policy just dreamed up by a Conservative donor without a shred of evidence to back it up. But let's be in no doubt that without us taking a stand in government, it would have happened. Without us, job security would have been a thing of the past, with employers able to get rid of staff on a whim. Liberal Democrats, of course we know it's important to help businesses. That's why our government has given a national insurance cut to firms, encouraging them to employ more people. But we also know that workers deserve the right to be treated fairly. So we will never sacrifice proper working conditions for the sake of a few easy headlines about red tape. Some Conservatives also seem to think that a job in the private sector somehow has more merit than someone working as a nurse or a teacher. But we know that you shouldn't divide public and private sector workers as if only jobs in the private sector matter. The truth is that in both the public and private sectors, people have made huge sacrifices, longer hours, more flexibility, pay freezes to protect jobs. So we should be praising all of this country's workers, public and private sector, for the determination they have shown in tough economic times. What then about Labour? They used to have a lot to say about jobs. They predicted soaring unemployment. Ed Miliband actually said that we had a program that would lead, I quote, lead to the disappearance of 1 million jobs. Now that we've actually created 1 million, he's gone strangely quiet on that prediction. Have you noticed how miserable they look when unemployment goes down? In the same way that they gambled on an endless boom when they were in government, they prayed for an endless recession when they were in opposition. But let's not be too nasty about Labour. So in the spirit of cross-party cooperation, I'm going to offer them some advice. If the Eds are watching, here is the first thing they should do to win back the trust of people. Apologize. Apologize for being too busy schmoozing the bankers to worry about the risks they were taking with the economy. Apologize for not balancing the books in the good times. Apologize for abolishing the 10p tax rate. Of course, they don't want to acknowledge their mistakes. Here's what Ed Balls said recently. Do I think the last Labour government was profligate, spent too much, had too much national debt? No, I don't think there's any evidence of that, he said. Well, if he wants some evidence, we can start with Exhibit A, a certain note left on David Laws's desk by Liam Byrne. So Labour can't talk about jobs either because they simply have nothing to say. But we can campaign as the party of jobs. We are the only party that really believes in releasing the potential of everyone, creating a society where everybody gets a fair chance in life. And that means making sure they get the opportunity to find work. We know that unemployment isn't just about statistics or a rising bill for benefits. As Paddy so movingly described from his own experiences, it's more than that. It's about ambitions thwarted, self-confidence drained, potential frustrated, and that spirit-crushing sense that you're not being allowed to take control of your own destiny. 1 million new opportunities will have been created. And we won't be asking the government of the day to do something. We will be doing it in government. And that's, of course, the spirit of this whole conference. A party dealing with the realities and the opportunities of government. The Prime Minister would love to have a party that can debate policies without tearing itself apart. And Ed Miliband, he just likes some policies. Now, since our party was formed, every step of our journey has been taken together. We've decided the policies, fought the campaigns, and taken on the vested interests. We decided together to go into government. People who don't understand us like to call debate division. But I think it's our debates that gives us our unity. Unity about what we want to see for our country. And it's those debates that produced fairer taxes, a rebalanced economy that benefits the whole country, and a green planet safe for our children. And thanks to us, that green planet will now have far fewer plastic bags in it. So that's why we can debate honestly and with respect. Let's remember to be proud of what we've done, and proud of what we all want our party to do in the future. And let's take a look at the other parties and what sets us apart. Ours is a great party. And in a short space of time, we have achieved great things. So I want you to enjoy your time in Glasgow, but when the debates and all the speeches are over, I want you to join me in getting back out there and telling everyone this. We are the party of fairness. We are the party of freedom. And yes, we are the party of jobs. Thank you and have a great conference. Thank you.